and welcome back to Celebrity with me. So I'm Nini, and we are back. Yes, we're wearing the same clothes because we're doing the episode from last night. We've already recorded the season premiere, which we missed that last Saturday. So we've done two episodes at this point. All right, so this is gonna be episode 43. Alrighty, so the first couple that we're gonna start out with is Letitia and Keith. Okay. So last week's episode stopped where Letitia found out that one of her employees used to date her husband. So the episode picks up with Letitia trying to figure out, like, how do you know my man? You know? And so, she asks the employee, did you sleep with my husband? And so she says no. She said that they dated when they were teenagers, so they were like 15 or 16. But Letitia isn't really happy with the answer. So she walks away from the group and she starts messaging him, trying to ask him what was going on. He didn't reply to her. She called his aunt and asked the aunt, and the aunt said he probably slept with her, knowing my nephew. Which, that was funny. But I guess since that, didn't satisfy her, then at that point, that's when she started messaging her. So she comes back to the group of ladies, she's just like, that was weird for me to hear, because I did not know that. But the way the girl that told it made it seem like she had been told that before. And the girl that, he dated or whatever, she basically said the same thing too, was like, I've mentioned that to you before. She was like, she thought it was a joke when it was mentioned. That whatever, she dated your man. All right. And so she calls his, well, it's later. Okay. So I guess a few days have passed, or I don't know if it's that evening, but she's at home and we see her. She's been trying to call him like all day. She hasn't been able to get a hold of him. So she's worried that the prison may be on lockdown. And so he finally calls her. She gets relieved, but she asked him point blank on the phone, like, did you ever sleep with her? And he did not answer her. And then he hung the phone up on her. And you can tell she was embarrassed that it happened, because she was like, like, how dare he? He better. I'm like, it's okay to be embarrassed a little bit by that. Anybody can understand why you would be embarrassed by that. And then that was like where their scenes ended this week. So, any response to Letitia and Keith? Uh-oh. Jerome
Yeah.
smiling already.
I just want to say that if anyone's looking for a job, there's at least 1 to 2 openings available for the I forgot the name, the one that came up and brought it up. They said, why would you bring it up now? That was just, well, she need to know. No, you're being messy.
Right.
And your boss is paying for you to be messy, which is even worse. There was a better way to handle that. And you could tell when they was talking to them outside and they sitting there, girl, he. Yeah, that's too available.
Yeah, because she said, the two girls, they were like, one of them said, well, she said he didn't get the cookie. She was like, but she said the cookie crumbled. I was like, y'all are just being messy.
So if they ain't lose it then when they watch this episode, they will then. Now, as far as the extent of how far Letitia is going about it, like I said, she's an old friend. They may have had something. They said it was 16. Even when she talked to him, said about 18. Even the aunt, I guess it was the aunt, said about the same thing, which was way before y'all, before you even knew who he was. And I get the idea. You kind of, like I say, even for myself, I don't want to be with someone that I know has been with. I don't need you to know anything that you possibly might experience from who I'm with. But she is way over. One, this was unknown beforehand, and this is like way overboard. She's acting because she's talking to the girl as if this happened while they were dating. And it's like, you can't criticize her for something that happened before she even knew who you were. But I will say that if you knew her husband, I probably might would have brought that up, even though it's hard to bring up because you don't want to go in there and say, hey, this happened, and then boom, you're fired.
Yeah.
But it probably should have come out, especially because you don't want to be where he come. Waited till he actually came out of jail, then came to work, and now he's also your boss, and you done slept with the boss, and the other boss, whose wife, don't know about it. And at the end, when he went to talk to her about it, he was talking, yeah, baby, because he got all these extra privileges with the phone. I don't. I think he's gonna try to say it ended, but I think he's like, man, I ain't going through none of this. And hung up the phone, which is very wrong. You gotta go ahead and face it, which is more true. Which shows more that you jumped into looking at him than finding out exactly who he was or any background, anything of that sort.
Yeah, she saw those gold teeth and she just lost it. Yeah, that's what I think happened. All right, Racy.
Well, I think if they tried to say something to her earlier on, and they said she didn't believe it or she didn't want to listen, that's kind of her fault.
Yeah.
Like, so now when the truth is coming out, now you put two and two together. Like, okay, this isn't brand new, but I just didn't know it was potentially they slept together. If that's the only thing that's new,
Mm-hmm.
then you asked her, she said no, we didn't sleep together. Calling the aunt to me was pointless.
Yeah.
All the aunt did was verify that yeah they dated, and I don't know, he was wild back then. I know my family and this is what they did, so I would assume they slept together, but I don't know. Like you gotta
It
give her.
was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy that she asked her that. Like, did you think your aunt was around? Or afterwards, he was like, yeah, aunt, yeah, no, this happened. That
And if
was
the aunt knows that, why would she tell her?
right.
That's her family. Like the guy is her family, not you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially something that was that long, that old. Now, if it was something that just happened, and she wanted to look out for her and was like, "Yeah, watch your back," because obviously my nephew is cheating on me. Whatever. But that was 16 years ago, whatever it was. Um, what difference is it gonna make? You're the boss. If you can't handle it, whether they sub together or not, then you got to look at the risk of what's going on at the company. Like, is she somebody who's value added? If so, then you suck it up. If she's not, fire her and hire somebody else. Like at the end of the day, like doing all this extra is just gonna cause more embarrassment to herself than anything else because it's making her look crazy, in my opinion. Because it's so old. That even
Right.
if they did sleep together, shoot, I mean, he could have grown, he could have learned new tricks, all kinds of things. Like this man is an adult now; he's in his 30s. You talking about someone when he was a teenager?
Yeah.
He
And
was
she's
probably had no
36.
experience on nothing.
Yeah, and then she's 36. So we're talking about something that happened 20 years ago. See, she could have let that go.
Yeah, he's 34, so I mean, he ain't that far behind her. Like this is old. Like anything that to me I'd be like, oh, you know that my man can do certain things, but it's probably not what he was doing at 16 or 18. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you stressing about something when he was at his most inexperienced time, probably. Um, and if it's gonna bother you that much, then fire the girl. You the boss. I don't think that's necessarily right, but it's your choice because you're the boss. So I'm like, oh, and then the hang up. See, we don't know if it hung up because the phone hung up, if WeTV made it look like that, or if he hung up because he was guilty and didn't want to answer the question. It can go any way, but either way it goes, like you didn't even ease into it. You just gonna throw that out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have eased into it, especially on TV. Like I would have gave you the chance to start talking to me. Let's get into a conversation, and then when you don't answer, I know not that you could be having technical difficulties with your phone, and they can manipulate what's happening.
Mhm.
So I don't know. All it's doing right now to me, she looks like the crazy one.
Alrighty. So the next couple was Andy and Brittany. Alrighty. So we find out Andy, he's from Georgia. He lives in Tifton, Georgia, which is like South Georgia. And Brittany is in Rome or from Rome, which is northern Georgia. So he is actually going to go meet up with his two daughters, and he lets them know that he is actually going to be moving away from the area they live in to move to be closer to Brittany and her kids, right? So he said that it's like a 4 hour drive away. I think it's a little bit more than that, but I don't drive it on a regular, um, so I wouldn't know. But and so he has a video call with Brittany, and he asked his girls, do y'all want to talk to her or whatever? Because I'm about to be on this video call. And so, he talks to her, and then his girls, they ask her a few questions and stuff, and so now the girls are realizing clearly he hasn't told them before this particular day that his intentions were to leave. So after he got off the phone with Brittany, you know, his daughter's like, okay, so you are going to leave, go hours away, and play daddy to her kids, but you weren't there for us. And so this is part of where I'm saying like certain timelines don't make sense to me. Oh, I thought, okay, so I know what it was that was really confusing me because he said he stopped being in law enforcement when he had to get his girls. Okay, so that makes it kind of seem like, I can't say kinda. It seems like you were a part of their life if you had to change your whole career to take care of them, right? And so the kids, they're clearly upset. He's upset. He's like, no, I was there for you guys. And, they are like, no, you weren't. And so somehow he gets Brittany back on the phone and he lets his daughter talk to Brittany. And so she tells Brittany, she was like, he's moving to go play daddy with your kids, but he wasn't even there for us. He left us behind. And Brittany instantly gets upset and she tells him, like, you never told me this. And he was like, I did tell you this. So that was confusing to me because it's like, and Brittany was mad because Brittany said, no, you never told me that like you weren't a part of your kid's life or whatever time frame there was. And he was like, yes, I did. But Brittany was like, no. And she was mad and livid. And then he was like, see, there y'all go trying to mess everything up. So like I said, my confusion was, okay, I thought you quit your job in law enforcement to take care of these kids. But if you were gone, that screws up the time frame and the way things were going that you're telling us. And I can understand Brittany getting mad if it's like, wait a minute, you portrayed to me like you were the one who raised your girls. But it looks that your daughter is saying she wasn't raised by you, like you had left. And they, and like the daughter was arguing back with him, it's like, you remember we lived at grandma and stuff like that. So I want to know, what do y'all think of Andy Scenes and his timeline? Maybe I'm not seeing something a part of this timeline and getting it wrong.
See, what I got from the timeline was that I guess during that time frame where he was married, he was a police officer. Then the wife had the drug addiction problems, whatever, split up, had all that going on. He got custody of the kids because the wife was on drugs. But I guess either being in law enforcement potentially was too dangerous of a job, or maybe the hours weren't.
Yeah, he said he worked the third shift, so he couldn't.
So the problem I have is that you became a truck driver. That's even worse.
Yes.
So for him, he became a truck driver, which wasn't the same as working third shift, I guess. But he even said out his own mouth that when he would come home,
he'd be lonely.
Used to being gone, that he really wasn't there when he was there. He was miserable and he really, you know what I'm saying? He hated life when he was there. So that would in turn, your kids would see that. Like, we got a mom who's a drug addict who ain't around. Then a dad who's a truck driver who, when he is here, he's not happy to be here. He don't want to be here or he's not interacting with us. So yeah, you didn't take care of these kids. You provided financially, but it sounded like the grandma, whether it's his mom or her mom, the wife's mom, took care of them kids. You just were there whenever you were there. Maybe you had them, but you didn't really interact or do the things. I mean, he got a son too. So with your kids, period, you just weren't there physically or emotionally, whatever they needed, just financially. Because I'm sure as a truck driver, he was making good money, but you're not there. So I believe that what the daughter was saying was legit, like based off of what he said and what she said. But he didn't tell. Oh, I'm sure he didn't tell a girl that. He probably was like, oh yeah, I had to get custody of my children, and then I had to do everything for them after that. I was a truck driver, but probably didn't put into account how often you was gone and when you was there, how you didn't really care to be there. She's gonna see.
Oh, Reese froze.
Oh, I thought it was me. Oh man. Uh, do you want me to start till she unfreezes or?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, there she go.
Okay, she's back.
Yeah, my I don't know, something going on my internet, but it's raining, so it might be why. But I don't know where it left off. But just that, I mean, I believe the kids because they know what they went through.
Right.
And to say that you're gonna, and then they were like, he was like, well, they're grown. No, she said her kids was like, I forgot to write the age of, they're like 10, 12, 14, and that ain't grown. Like, but that's all I got because my thing keep acting up.
Okay. All right, so Jerome, have any thoughts there?
Yeah. All right. I'm having the same issue. Give me one quick second. That's crazy. I wrote lots of notes for this. Ah, shoot. I'm sorry. One more second.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. To me, with them, he came in, saw his girls. That was good. He came up with the whole idea that, hey, I'm coming to, that I had the video call set up already before we even got there and to meet them. So he is still like head over heels. Like, I want y'all to like her. Now like I said, he did say he switched jobs just so that he could be there, but he said he wouldn't be a truck driver. So when the girls were saying, well, before we even get to that part, and I could tell that the girls didn't seem comfortable, especially Destiny. Destiny was very reserved. She's the youngest, daddy's girl. They're like a year apart. Allie was more, I'll say and give it a try, but I'm still not feeling it. And he's like, come on. It's like he's still considering, I want y'all to like her more than how do y'all feel about it? So when they do it and they have the conversation, I love the directness of the girls. They was just like, let's just get into it. How did you end up in jail? And then when the youngest one came in and asked her question, then when they got her off the phone, and when she named that she had kids and the ages, 18, 15, 12, and 10, there's still some raising to be done with those.
Mm-hmm.
And then even to hear, about, because it made me wonder, well, who's taking care of them during this time? Then and also during the time that she was an addict. So when they got further along and they were talking about he wasn't there for them, I think in his case, because he went to be a truck driver, he felt like if I'm financially providing, I'm there. But it takes more than that. Yeah, they appreciate, I guess, but kids don't really see that. They need sometimes to have that person to tell them, whether it be the discipline to take trips, to sit here and talk to one another. This boy, tell me about boys. You're not there for that. That, you have to balance between, you can't think money is just it, and you can't say that no money is it either. So I totally understood them, and he didn't get it. And I find just in general, there are some dads that just don't get that part. Now, when she called back and the way daughter just came and got the phone and said what she had to say, that he wasn't there for us, and she was so upset. She has every right to be upset because that is a flag. That is really a red flag. But in the same aspect, you got to reflect too and be like, I made decisions where I couldn't be there as a mother either.
Mm-hmm.
So if you relapse, so let's say you get together and you marry him and you relapse, are you saying this to make sure that you got a man there if you don't do right to sit here and be there for your kids? because there are times you've been, because we're talking 10 years old. That's at least 8 years that you got with her kids or more, and you're like, hey, I want you to meet her and make her feel involved or whatever. We're talking about Gracie. I don't know how old Gracie is. I'm guessing she's the oldest of the kids. And then if you do, then are you thinking as a dad too? If you are, then let's say you do go in here and you sit up here because you look at what you did with your daughters, you become father of the year to these 4 stepkids. How is that going to make your actual kids feel?
Right.
So it's just, there's just so many parts of this that, I don't get. And I've been through Tifton, Georgia more than once. It is a very small town. So there's not like a lot of activity. So I'm guessing he doesn't get it. And I can see why the kids will have plenty of time to sit there and feel like there's this void that wasn't filled, and it should have been filled by my father. And especially with their mother who went through her thing. So if he's on the road and mom is already that, has been unstable, going through addiction and stuff. And that's it. And then with this lady here having some of the same issues, come from the same issues that their mother had, you can't expect them to be comfortable. You've got to be more considerate of their feelings and not just yours.
Mm-hmm.
One thing too, like he also mentioned, like she was like, my the oldest daughter, Gracie or whatever, she is very sensitive because I guess she's been helping raise these kids. She's the oldest. The fact that she said that, I feel like I give her a little respect because I feel like he's not giving that same respect about his kids. Like, hey, my kids went through a mom who had the same problems you had, so be careful how you come towards my kids too. Like my kids are sensitive to this, even if they are older. You know what I'm saying? But a big chunk of their life was jacked up. So
yeah. And then we don't really know about the kids' mom, so she might still be doing it. It's just that her 2 girls are grown now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 kids. She got. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
got the son. And I do feel like she showed, like the girl in jail showed some maturity that I feel like even the dad who ain't even been to jail, plus you went through it with the mom, didn't show. Is why I said I have a different opinion of her now, but I still don't know if she's using them or not. That's all I have.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to the next couple, and that was Jade and Chris. Their scene very quick. All right, so we see her and her sister. They're going somewhere to go ride the side by side. I guess I don't know. I'm not a sportsy kind of person, so I don't know what that was that they were on. Looked like some pretty white sand wherever they were. So they ride the side by side. When they get off of it, her sister looks at Jade's phone. It says Chris called 18 times. Excessive. And so she actually answers the next call. And, she's like, why did you call so many times? And he was like, I was trying to get a hold of you. If I see 18 missed calls from anybody, my heart immediately drops to my stomach because I'm like, uh-oh. They were really trying to get a hold of me. And then you call the person back and they're like, oh, yeah, I was just trying to get a hold of you. Like, what? But that's me. That's how I am. So they also show her, she makes TikTok. She's an influencer. And so she's making TikTok showing off the things that her man has got her. I guess she was doing one TikTok where it was like a day in my life kind of TikTok. And it said featuring things that he's bought her. So I'm kind of like, you seem to really like talking about the things that he has bought you. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. So any thoughts on Jade and Chris this week? That was it for them. Like I said, very quick. Jerome?
I'm gonna make this quick. Yes, Jess is greedy. Wait a minute. Let me make sure I got it right. Jess, wait a minute, which one? Jess is the sister, right?
Jade is the regular, and I think Jess is the sister. There's Jess and Jahan. I like their J names. So
yes, the one that went with her that was asking her sister was asking all the questions.
Yes.
Yeah. She greedy. She if roles were reversed, she would definitely be the gold digger because she's like, let's figure it out. Let's figure out the amounts. She's also the one that's talking about, well, we need to talk, and when we talk, I'm going to tear into him. You're showing zero consideration that your sister has to deal with the repercussions of you trying to be Billy Joe Bad Butt. You're still trying to think in a young single mindset of just sisters hanging out rather than she has responsibilities of a husband. He once again came in talking about the calls. They're driving. But at this point, I'm like, if you know he does this, then work with him to say, hey, let's set up a time here. Because I'm wondering, so you have to wait to receive your calls from jails, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I kind of get, so some of that, I'm like, if he's only allotted certain times to call, he's not always available. So that's why I feel you need to go to your husband and say, honey, I really do want to talk to you and be involved. Let me know when you're available and I'll work around that rather than her, because it seems like she's more family oriented, where she's putting family first, him second, although he's the one that's doing more for her right now than the family is. Now the outfit, A1. Yes, I'm buying one for my woman too.
That was
whole outfit, my picture on it. Yes.
I've seen in a long time. I ain't gonna say ever, but the tackiest thing I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. I'm joking though, but seriously, I just saying I loved it. I just didn't. His demeanor is like, I've got to sit here. You've got to talk to me. But that goes right back into where, if this man she said, if this man is basically investing $1 million in you into making sure you got a place, car, whatever, there are certain things that I hate to say that should come with it. If you was working a job, if you was paying somebody to work a job, like to be your assistant, and they're paying you $1 million in 7 months, they're going to pretty much want you to be on demand. And it's not like he's telling her she can't do stuff. It's not like he's saying that you cannot be around your family. He's just saying that, make time for me, make some time to talk with me. I shouldn't always have to be I talk to you, but then I have to just sit here and wait until your family does what have you. And at some point, I really feel like Jade is going to have to check her sister. Like, listen, I know you feel like you feel, but this is my, are you going to sit here and take over and buy me a truck and get me a house and everything else when you sit up there talking about when y'all sit down and what you're going to do? Because relationships don't have to end because the two people don't get along. It could also fall apart because you have friends or family that interfere and will, till a person feels like, I don't have to deal with this. They don't have kids and he's the one being a provider. He doesn't have to be there. No more than she has to be there either. She doesn't have to deal with this. If he can't deal with her not answering the phone, he can easily leave and take everything with him. If she doesn't like the idea of him calling, she can easily leave and not accept the things he keeps doing. And if you want to side with your family, then you and your family get a place and y'all can all live together and get you a SUV that seats 8 and y'all can ride together everywhere.
Okay. All right, Reese, you have.
I think my viewpoint is different. I think he's excessive with his calling because what we're seeing is when she's doing things, but we don't know that she don't talk to him all the time outside of that. We're just saying when he gets crazy when she doesn't answer. But there could be times throughout the day, all day long, because it doesn't seem like he's stuck to like the payphone necessarily. Seems like almost, but then I guess when it called, it said you got a call coming in, right? Whenever he calls, or does he just get through?
That I haven't paid attention to because he might have an iPhone like Renika's guy. He has an iPhone. She says she don't know how he got it, but
because for him to call and video call and call regular, call her friends, call everybody like he did in the previous episode, and then to call 18 times, it's like I'm almost sure he knew she was going to do something with her sister, but he just gets excessive because he needs to know what she's doing and needs her to, like, I don't know, I guess it's that need to be put first, but it's like she's not with her sisters 24/7. She's not with her mom 24/7. She's not with all these people 24/7. So if
Well,
every time you are with them, you get like this, then to me the problem might not be her. It might be his
yeah.
controlling this.
Okay. So for me, with that, you said something that was very monumental for me. You said he wants to be put first, but as her husband, he should be put first,
He
and that
should be.
is bothering.
But I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna just sit. You're in jail. I'm not gonna sit at home 24/7, and then the one time I'm like, well, me and my sister want to go to lunch. You blowing my phone up because I'm at lunch, or I'm like, hey, we want to go ride the side by side. We go ride that. You blowing my phone up, or hey, I don't have a party, but I've talked to you all day long. Like to me, that's excessive. Like it seemed like he only gets crazy when she's doing something, but if she's not doing anything, it seems like her life is at peace. So you want her only to be with you, and that's it. Like cut everybody else out your life. I'm the only person that matters. Yes, you're an important person. Yes, but she still has to. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be the sole provider, then hey, she's a social media influencer. In my opinion, he probably wanted to stop doing that too because, like she said, her inbox is full of either people hating on her or people sending her pics. But the thing is that I still feel like he's extremely controlling because the only time it seems like he flares up like this is when she's with her family, and they've only shown 2 incidents where she's with her family. But it seems like anytime she's with her family, he goes crazy.
One of the things that he said for the party in this is that he wants to be involved.
You're in
So
jail.
it could be a case of where, and I'm not saying it's right,
Mhm.
but maybe he just wanted to be there on video,
Oh,
like, hey, let me go say happy birthday. Let me be there to blowing out of the cake, and just, walking around since I can't be there physically. To be
well,
there.
we
So that,
mentioned that because I said she a social media influencer and she probably got like a freaking phone stand and all that stuff. She could set it up, but
right.
it's like every time I'm with my sister, I gotta set up my phone for you to like come ride in the car with us, come sit, be on the phone, we go eat, go do like to me that's still not normal in a marriage. If you were home, it wouldn't be like that.
Well, I mean, if it was a marriage and they were home, then he would actually be at the party.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but when they went to go ride the little thing, you may have went, you may not, but you wouldn't have been in the car with them because only 2 people can fit in there. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
when
Like
it
it's like you just want to be in the middle of everything. What do you think that the sister is saying? If she's saying negative things, it's probably because every time she's around, it turns negative. And if it's my sister and everything I see is just negative, I don't see the good outside of you spending all this money. Then I'd be concerned too. Like, does he love you or is he trying to buy your love? Like, do you love him or do you love the things he's doing for you? Because it looks from the little bit they've showed us, it looks crazy. Like you just buying stuff, and even her, to me, the way she talks to him, like she seems frustrated with him most of the time.
and I
Even when
agree,
she's
but
with her
I'm sorry.
friends, when she by herself, it seems like she be all right.
And I agree, but I say too, for the sister, I mean, if you listen at, how the sister came when she was frustrated, she gonna go kick the poster down, and then when they got on the phone and how the sister was talking to him. So part of the frustration is probably also how the sister talks and how she acts and reacts to things, and she doesn't really come through with someone who's trying to like make peace between my sister and my brother-in-law, but more of, hey, this is how I knew my sister beforehand, and it should be the same now. There should be no change whether you're here or not.
See, I
And
don't
with
like
like, and
that.
also you said you don't, so we don't know how much they talk
Mhm.
outside of what they show us, and the only scenes they show us when she's with people. So you don't know how many conversations they have when they're not together, or if she just acts different when she's with her family, or that may be the times when he has time to call. It just has to be at the same time things happen. So there's a lot of unknowns
Mhm.
to be exactly like who's who. But I can say that he does call excessively, and the sister does sit here and talk like, "Hey, I'm your sister. I should be first, regardless. You need to chill out."
See, I guess what I see with the sister isn't necessarily she's saying I need to be first regardless, is that he's controlling and I don't like that from my sister. And that, I mean, to me, that's any sister who you see somebody being controlling, narcissistic, abusive, any of those type of things. Most sisters or brothers, whatever, on the side, are gonna stand up and be like, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. That's weird, or that's too much when you're just with me, or you're just with, sitting at the house with me, you, and mom, dad, whoever. It's excessive. And like even the mom is saying she feel like it's toxic. So that mean the mom has seen it too. And not to say that he doesn't come before them, because once you get married, yes, but she also doesn't really know this man like that. They met, and 7 months later they was married. You're talking about people who's been in her life their whole life versus and people who actually know her. And it's not to say like, hey, you need to act single, because nothing that they've said to me is her not acting like a married woman. It's just her not being controlled by somebody who is calling 50 times in one setting. Because to me, unless you're arguing, then it is crazy for somebody just to call, unless it's an emergency. Maybe 2, 3 missed calls, but 18, and that's less than the party. 18 when all they were doing was driving to the little spot. That's a lot.
I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, like I say, if he can't deal with her not answering the phone, then he should just take what he have and walk. If she can't deal with his calling, then walk away. And either way, and if the sisters, and I think he said it. Somebody said he said that if the sister if she has an issue, she has no problem using the things I provide.
Yeah, but that's just him saying that. Like, she benefits from it through her sister, but really the person who is, to me, problematic is the girl who's accepting it. But she's on the phone with him, like, I can't talk to you right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then when your sister's seeing that, they're looking at that like, oh, snap, that's right. Don't talk to my sister like that. You know what I mean? But like the sister even said, but then you turn around and y'all back together again and y'all happy and we look like the bad guys. So that's a problem too. But that's normal, to be real. That's what happens.
I guess I took a different stance. When he said that, I was thinking in my head, like, he's probably talking about more stuff than just the pool at the house. Who knows what he's done for the sisters or the mom or whatever. So that's the way I almost took it. Was like, wait a minute. I need some clarity on this. What have you been doing for the sister? And you feel like, that she is benefiting from it.
He might have been doing for the family. So we don't know. I mean, I get the part of controlling and not liking people that are controlling, but in the same aspect, I don't like people that either feel to take advantage or don't understand that hey, you can't be in a different scenario and still think you can act the same way.
But nothing she does is like she acts like she's not married though. That's why I'm not understanding that part. But I mean, as time goes, I think more will come out. We'll see, because there's too many unanswered things. Like, too many unanswered things.
All right, so the next couple was Renika and Asante. Very short scenes again. So we see her. She's like having like a game night, and they're playing Jenga, and they're talking about her departure, and and she's trying to, I feel like, sell her love story to people. He is, he listens to me, he communicates with me. I'm like, man, they all listen, they all communicate because that's what they have the free time for. And then we see she's having like a racy video call with him where she's like in lingerie, she's talking a little dirty to him, and then that was it for their scenes. So thoughts on Asante and Renika?
It was an okay scene. I'm glad she had. I'm glad she had somebody when it was playing Jenga that was really trying to talk some sense. Like, hey, you need to think. And then you had it with the kids there, and that was probably, I don't think, was the best place for the kids that have the conversation. But in the same aspect, I think would have opened the door if the kids that have any questions, they could comfortably say it to their mother. It's like a lot of red flags. You're really jumping into it. You maybe should wait first and see. And I forgot to mention, when they talked about, I kind of like she said, gave the same answer to the sister, like the same answer she gave to the dad when she told the dad, "You're a convict too." It's like, yes, he's a convict also, but he's also looking like, listen, I'm telling you this because I was one, and because you're my daughter, I see just a guy that's a player. But when he has his daughter or his sister, he gives the advice of, "This is how you go avoid something like me." But another thing is when she was talking to him and she was asking him, said, "Well, a lot of people don't believe in us and what have you." Like, "Oh yeah, no, we good." But I guess with a lot of couples, I'm seeing like a lot of caution flags. But like this season seems to be mostly people that are just so blinded by what they want to see that everybody around trying to tell you, whether it be the guy in Tifton or whatever else, kind of pump your brakes. That's it for me.
Okay, Racy.
It wasn't really much to there. So, the only thing that I didn't get a comfortable feeling with was when she was like, "Are you talking to other women?" He delayed and said no, kind of slow. In the way he said it wasn't to me like confident, like, no, why are you asking me? You know what I'm saying? Or you didn't have to say why you asked me that, but just the way he said it is a long pause and a no. I believe he probably does talk to other women. Like he's not committed to her. They're not married, nor are they engaged like the other couples. Like him and Andy and Brittany are the only two that don't have a engagement or marriage. So when you looking at that, granted, not to say that the marriage or the engagements are going to save anything either once they get out, but at least they have some sort of commitment with these people. Y'all are just dating. So if he's cheating, talking to other women, doing what he do in prison, like this just might you just really do like everything that they're saying really may be true. You may just be another one of the women that he's talking with. Maybe he like you the most, and that's why he's willing to move in with you and all this. Or maybe you're the one who's open up to say, "I'll move there, I'll do this and do that." So he chose you. But
I'm sure that 2,000 to 2,500 didn't hurt either.
Yeah. But I almost guarantee she probably ain't the only one giving him money. You know, we've seen that in previous Love During Lockups that it don't be one person they talking to, especially when they have their own phone, like he got, as well as sending the money and him like having these video calls and all that stuff. Like she said, she don't trust him, she love him. So you're going off of love, not trust, and that's a scary thing. Like you can love somebody and not trust them, but trust tears stuff apart. Like no trust tears a lot of stuff apart because it causes a lot of I don't believe you on this, I don't believe you on that. Whether you're right or they right, you wrong, they wrong, whatever the case may be. No trust is like to me that's almost a damaging thing that's almost guaranteed to make your relationship fall. Communication, trust, and money. And the fact that she's going into uprooting her kids and she don't even trust this man is weird to me. But I guess we'll see when they get there because they make it to the next season apparently. Because I saw the preview, but yeah. So if he's getting out in a few days, that means they dragging her storyline because she makes it to Love after lockup, and we're only at episode 2. So it's like how long are her episodes? Like how long if it's a few days? Like you've made where other people got months. They just showing days of your life. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and they don't show a whole lot of them because even last episode they didn't show a lot of her scenes.
Probably don't have enough to show a lot.
I think that's what it is. Like you made a good point where if he's getting out in a few days, y'all are stretching these scenes.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a slight chance that he could do something to get him a little bit more time.
True.
That is true because somebody did. Gabby and Chris, didn't he get more time?
I think so.
He went back. I don't know. Did he get more time when they were? Maybe.
Like she went up there to try to pick him up a couple of times. I couldn't get him.
Well, he got switched and they were like he going to federal prison. Remember that was weird. That scenario was weird. They were like, as soon as he got released, the feds picked him up and he had to go to another prison or something. So his might have been different because they had him on a second charge. Once he got released, they had him on another charge or something. But like she said, like we don't know that maybe one of them phone calls get caught. Who knows? Because she said if he gets caught, then he could go to the hole and they extend his time. So who knows?
Yeah. Alrighty. So the next couple, Brittany and I don't know why I can't get his name. Key Rock. All right, and so we see that Brittany, she is off hanging out with friends. They went go karting, and then after the go karting, well, he called while I think he called while they were together, wasn't it? But either way, we see like that he called, and then we see a scene of her putting money into the ATM, and she says that she's a waitress and that every week she sends $125 to him, to help him out because he's also trying to have a business while he's in prison. It's something with laundry and stuff, and he needs some money for phone calls and stuff. All right, and she reveals to us that they are planning on getting married pretty much as soon as he gets out of prison. They're ready to get married, and she says that she's ready to have a baby. I get it that they can have a baby, but it was I don't know. I'm gonna leave that alone before I say something wrong. Um, so we see like she ends up pulling up to a house, and she goes inside, and we find out that she is actually living with Key Rock's family is where she's living at. And so he calls again on video call, and they all talk and stuff. And his brothers, she gets up and leaves out the room, and we see that Kirok's brothers are telling him that Brittany comes home late from work. I'm gonna say every night she's coming home late from work. And so, Kirok's like, okay. So what time does this restaurant close? You can see he's feeding into like, wait a minute, what's going on with this? And then she comes back in the room, finishes up the conversation and stuff. But you could tell he had a feeling of whatever. She's like, yeah, he has everybody spying on me. There's no telling who's not watching me right now and stuff. Okay, and so that was Brittany and Kirok this week. Thoughts on them?
But well, first off, they said the restaurant closed at 12, but she gets home about 2. I have yet to find a self-cleaning restaurant. At some point, you got to clean up. So I don't see a problem in the timeline. First off. Second, it just looked like too. He's worried because she's out, he's in. But she is so hung up on him. It don't matter if Vin Diesel came in. She ain't changing that. The brothers, they both single. So I talked about the Mancy sisters. The brothers are just as bad. They're gonna try and put all kind of ideas in his head, and this girl sound like this woman sound like she is really dedicated. She's working, and he was like, "You ain't got to work," and she's like, I still want to be able to provide, have my own." I admire that 110%. Hats off to you. And he should really appreciate having someone that's willing to do that than someone who can provide and just want to give, and she just sit back and enjoy it, and then go by side for the sister. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, but just wants to sit here and contribute. I know the other contributes as well. I'm just making it funny, but yeah, I just hope at the end of the day that he doesn't take time just listening to them brothers and putting the wrong ideas in his head, and that he actually sits here and talks. Now, I will say on the end that if you're in this relationship and promising to be married, that you have to have some sort of trust. And too many people watching you and you're not doing wrong can actually push a good one away.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the brothers, to me, they just came off as really messy because even with them doing that, they also, I don't know if y'all caught this, they were also jumping on Key Rock and was like, "Are you telling that girl you can get her pregnant?" And la la la. And I was just like, you don't need to worry about that. Why are you worried? And he was like, "You're acting like you can get her pregnant." Y'all leave that alone. If he wants to say that and she wants to believe it, why not let them? But I don't know. Maybe that's funny. All right, so Reese, what are your thoughts on Brittany and Key Rock?
Um, so I agree. The brothers is messy. I don't think it's wrong for if they notice something to say something, and maybe they don't understand how it works. So whether you work at a clothing store, anytime you close, you're part of the cleanup. And depending on how fast, because you gotta think a restaurant closes at 12, but if the people are still eating at 12, nobody else can come in, nobody else can order. But it may be 1 o'clock before that last customer leaves, and you still gotta clean. So y'all are cleaning around these people, but you still gotta clean that table, clean that, close out. You know what I'm saying? They probably can't close out cash register to the last person pays. It's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Just like if you're in a store and they're like, hey, 5 more minutes, then you got to come up here, but the store's already closed, when they're still checking out a line of people. Like, so they probably just don't get it because maybe they don't work in them type of environments. And the thing is, I never have either, but I get that. I do get that. So I'm with JC on that. They're being messy for the wrong reason. And hopefully because of listening to how Key-Rock was talking, he seems mature for 25. Because, he was telling her, well, hey, so if your grades start slipping, because I like, I'm like her daddy. Your grades start slipping, you're going to quit that job. I'm like, but what he said is true. Like, you're trying to become, you're going through your cosmetology stuff. And if you want to do this for real, then you can't let this restaurant dictate that. Like, if I can support you and you finish school, that way you can become bigger, better, you can have your own shop, whatever you're going to do, then great. That store is not, that restaurant is not that important. But he did come off like a dad. And I was like, uh-oh, he said that. But it was true. It's true. It was good advice. It just came off wrong, or it came off weird to me. But the other thing that stood out for me outside of the Messy Brothers and the restaurant was that he cheated on her when he got taken into solitary. I don't know if you mentioned that. And
No,
not solitary, but when he got pulled away from her or whatever, like they were put in separate buildings or something, he cheated on her. And then she forgave him. Then they had broke up because he heard rumors of her cheating, which is she gonna take it to her grave if it's true? Because she's saying it's not true, with rumors. So regardless of it, they broke up. And then she says, then she actually slept with somebody else. So technically she didn't cheat. She slept with somebody after they broke up, if the cheating rumors aren't true. But it sounds like he hasn't really forgiven that or something. And that may be some part of the storyline later, the way she said it. Like, well, I forgave him, but I cheated, and it was after the breakup, but it's like he still got a problem with it. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna play a part. Because they both cheated. I mean, whether it was right after the breakup or whether before the breakup, they got that issue. So there's some trust issues. And then not to like start nothing, because I have nothing against nobody and transgender, all this other stuff. But the baby thing was a little strange because she's like, I want to have like 4 of them. And I know you can be 2 women and have a baby, 2 men and have a baby. But the brothers is like, you talking about you gonna get her pregnant? She probably already pregnant as much as you say she gonna get pregnant. But I'm like,
I didn't hear that part.
it really is weird to me, like, because y'all got it's steps you gotta take to get pregnant. Because even if you transgender, you still can't get her pregnant. You still had ovaries on the inside. So how they gonna do it? I don't know, but that ain't nothing that can just, like, oh, they didn't had all this. They've been, intimate every day, all day. You're never gonna get pregnant. They've been talking about it every day, all day. It's never gonna happen. Like, you got to go through the process and get the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it when you go in like the banks and get the sperm and all this other stuff? It's a process. Yeah, the IVF, and then they gotta find a male because there's no male in this world. So then you gotta find that male person. So it's like, that part was kind of crazy where he talking about he gonna get her pregnant, and she's like, I'm ready. I want to have 4 babies, maybe 5, and this and that. And I'm like, that's crazy because that's gonna be expensive to have all them babies unless you get you like some triplets or quadruplets or quintuplets. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, that's gonna be an expensive process to keep having all these babies doing it that way. But unless you just happen to get like somebody turkey based or whatever it is, people can do it without going through the process. But yeah, so I like the brothers was messy, but they still had a point. Like, and then when they were like, the way you keep talking about getting her pregnant, she's probably already pregnant. I'm like, if she already pregnant, and she cheating. Whether he was a male or not, that'd be the case. But the fact that he can't really get her pregnant.
Yes.
But we'll see, because again, they're young, and I'm just curious on how it's gonna go with them.
Yeah, that was crazy. I did not hear them say she's probably already pregnant. I did not.
They said it. They were like, she probably already pregnant as much as you say you're gonna get her pregnant. And then she talking about how many kids. I'm like, man, she might have to keep that job then if she want all them kids. That's a lot of treatments. If you're doing it professionally. Now, if you doing it the other way, then that's
Or
fine.
who knows, maybe she's working that job so that, because sometimes your benefits from work will pay
Yeah,
for treatment. So maybe that's
yeah.
possible stuff too.
But I have known people that were same sex and they did the turkey baster thing, and that's real. Like it really does. Can work if you do it quick enough. All you need is it.
I'm sorry.
Hmm?
My, I'm sorry. My tablet was dying. I was trying to get the.
You didn't miss anything. Reese was giving us a visual of what
Yeah,
happens with the turkey
turkey
baster.
baster and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
all.
know how they're gonna do it, but hey, as they do it, great for them. Whether they have 1 to 5 kids, great for them that they last that long. So, um,
True.
yeah, just hopefully it works because it seemed like the brothers are putting trust issues in his ears, and whether he
Yeah.
needs to know it or not, like they're there. So
Yeah.
it may hurt him. They're young.
Yeah, that could be. If he acts the same way once he gets out, then that does become controlling. And I'm like, no, because like now you're trying to watch somebody's every step.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the other couple too. I don't know.
Yeah.
He makes me nervous. Like I bought you this, so you're mine, and you do what I say. No,
Right. And see, I'm the way with this one because it's like I'm still locked up. I'm doing the minimum. You're staying with my brothers, in which I'm sorry. I can't. I don't trust my family enough to leave my girl. And then she sat there
definitely.
saying, "Oh yeah, we about to drink."
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
No.
And the way she
So
looked at the brother, like, I want to get some pizza. And then he's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I don't know. It just felt weird. Like, I know it's probably nothing. It's probably 100% nothing.
the
But
brother,
Yeah, what if the brother got her pregnant and they trying to convince her
yeah,
that?
she only pregnant
yeah,
because you kept saying
Yeah.
it.
they
You
done
didn't
they
say
done
so
sat
many
there,
times. That's the
had
problem.
had some drinks, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm sorry, my girl ain't sitting there with two of my homeboys or my brothers and having drinks.
Well, she
No,
lived with them. Like, she lived with
not
them.
happening. Mm-mm.
She lived with them. So it's like,
Just
even if
tell me
she's
you're
not
single.
drinking or not, she lives with them. So you
Yeah,
don't
because
know
she
what's happening in
go
the
home
house unless you
to
call her
her
on the phone.
family. Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying if you live together, that is definitely a concern. But when you drink it, no matter how, depending on how much you drink,
Yeah.
it's easier to take advantage of somebody when they drink it.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, he knows they're drinking. There's gonna be times he don't even know they drinking. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you live with my two brothers and you're a female is weird to me.
Yeah, like I said, I agree. It's wrong either way. But I'm just speaking off of what they just said on there. You sitting there saying, "Hey, I'm about to drink," with the two brothers. They're like, "Yeah." You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, mm-mm.
Yeah, because they like we looking out for you because I don't know what's going on there right behind closed doors. You don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
looking out for everybody else, including her when she get good.
Right.
Anyway, no.
We
Or
rather her
if she
drink
come
here
out
with
there
us.
naked, like will y'all stop her? Will you be like, "That's my brother, get out of here"? Or
Yeah.
will you be drunk too and say, "Okay"? Not to say that that's what's gonna happen, but it's still to me, I wouldn't have a female living with brothers. Like when she said she lived with his family, I thought she meant like the mom them or something like that. I ain't know she's two brothers. I'm like, that's weird. And the
Yeah.
brothers probably have friends over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be anybody. It could be the brothers, friends, or whomever.
Mhm.
We'll see. Time will tell.
All right. Well, that was this week's episode of Love During Lockup. And so I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're still watching, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. Um, and if you have any questions or opinions about this show, this particular episode, go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know what were you thinking. Or maybe we got something a little bit wrong. Let us know, whatever. And as always, thank you for watching, friends, and we'll see you next week. Bye.